Exhale, chair. Nobody hates chair more than I do. I think I say that in every class I teach. Nobody does. Hey everyone, welcome to class. This is a very special intention setting flow that I wanted to do mid-year for all of us. So I know even if you don't want to get caught up in the hype of the new year around setting goals or resolutions or intentions, whatever you want to call it, we tend to think in that direction come January. But later in the year, we don't necessarily have a set point in time that we do that for ourselves. So mid-year, I thought, let's just clean the slate again and figure out where we are, where we want to go, and give ourselves a chance to kind of reevaluate before January comes along yet again. I don't even want to think about how soon that is, honestly. I don't. So what I want you to have with you is something to write with, just a piece of paper, a pen. We're going to do a little bit of meditation and intention setting and then move into a flow. So nothing super crazy. You don't need props beyond that. Just something to write with for now. And I want you to get comfortable once you have that. You can pause me if you need to. And then once you're ready, get comfortable, find a comfortable seat, let the eyes close. And just bring your awareness to your breath. Let your body slow down. And if your mind is kind of working already because you're in this frame of mind of intentions and all of that, just let it run. And you don't have to quiet the mind at all. I just want you to focus on keeping your body still and peaceful and your breath moving at a natural pace. And if your mind hasn't wandered there yet, I want you to reflect on some of the intentions you set at the beginning of the year. Maybe you didn't set any, that's fine too. But call to mind any of the ones that you know you really wanted to focus on, some of the ones that were most important to you. Inevitably, life happens and we tend to not execute these things with 100% perfection, right? And that's never expected anyway. But sometimes we get wrapped up in the guilt of having not executed these things to perfection. So as you're reflecting on some of the intentions or goals that you set, I want you to also let go of any guilt over circumstances that require you to change gears or to shift priorities. Reframing it as there's no such thing as failure in this arena. Sometimes we have to reprioritize, but that doesn't mean we've failed at something else. Whenever you reprioritize, it means you've successfully adapted to the situation that you're in. And that is exactly what we want. We want to be adaptable. We want to be flexible. We want to be open to whatever is in front of us, not just attached to what we were hoping for or what we wish, So as these intentions are in your mind, you're reframing anything that got in the way, not as a failure, but as a reprioritization. And now we're doing that reprioritization a little bit more intentionally. So thinking about those intentions that you set now that you're 6 months into the year, just about 6 months into the year, are there any changes that you would make to those intentions? And you don't have to think really hard about this, just whatever pops into mind right away, I want you to write that down. So feel free to kind of move in and out of this meditation posture and jot down the things that come to mind. So are you comfortable sticking with that initial intention that you had set a few months ago? Or is there any tweak, adjustment, change that you need to make moving forward so that you can continue to incorporate that into your life in a way that fits the current circumstances better? And if you haven't already, just open the eyes, take whatever you have to write with, and I want you to write down kind of a framework for the path forward. So maybe what's working really well? Have you managed your time pretty well and you feel like, oh, you know what? Wednesdays, I always have time for this, whatever your intention is, however you fit that in, what worked really well. And we can just write that down. And then on the flip side, what has not worked really well? What do you feel like you could do better? For me, one of those things is always like, I often will complain about not having time, but I spend a lot of time replying to things on social media. And I'm like, I could probably do 20 minutes less of that in order to fit in something else for myself, right? So think about, if you don't have time for the thing that you're trying to make space for, or you just regularly don't prioritize that thing, how can you just switch that around? How can you reprioritize the thing that you want to make room for? What were you doing that was not working well towards that goal? And now I want you to think of a day. We're going to move into our practice in just a minute. So I want you to write down a day that you're going to revisit your calendar and set actual time for what you want to do more of. Okay, so even if it's not necessarily an activity, but it's just a mindset that you want to work into your day more, can you write down a time, like after this practice, you're going to set a reminder in your phone to take a deep breath every day at noon, or whatever it is that you want to make more space for. Set a date, write it down, set a time, set a date that you're going to revisit this right here, and you're going to go back to it and figure out how to work it back into your life again. Again, things get hectic we have good intentions in January, and life happens. That's just the rhythm of our lives. I totally get it. But that doesn't mean we can't revisit those things and try to reprioritize them in a meaningful way that works for our current circumstances. So set a time. You can put it in your phone as a reminder, whatever works for you. Get your last couple thoughts out. I'll give you a few seconds for that. I'm going to actually have coffee out of frame here. I'll just drink a sip of coffee while you do that. I wonder if I'm the only yogi who has coffee on the outside of their yoga mat rather than actual water. Just curious. You let me know if I'm alone in that habit. And then whenever you're done, I want you to find a comfortable seat. Like I said, you don't need any props specifically unless there's ones you just like to have on hand. Relax the shoulders down and back. Interlace the fingers and press the hands out in front of you, kind of round through the upper back. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the arms up overhead. Look up. And on your exhale, take the left hand down, reach the right arm up and over. Come back through the center, take the right hand down, left arm reaches up and over. Inhale to the center. Bring the soles of the feet together for a seated bound angle. You can walk the feet as far out as you need to in order to make this shape possible. Sit up nice and tall on the inhale, and on the exhale, let the upper body relax down. Oof, my back is so tight. Goodness. Take a couple breaths here. You might even walk the hands out a little bit and just sway side to side, especially if this one caught you off guard like it did me, where you're like, wow, I needed that today. Come back up to the center. Bring the knees together, turn onto your front, and we're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow. So finding tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and then move through a few rounds of cat-cow, rounding the back. Inhale, pull the chest through so the sternum moves toward the sky. Exhale, round. Inhale, chest towards the sky. Take one more each way. And then bring it back to neutral. So tuck the toes, sit up and back for downward facing dog. Now we're going to move through some familiar sun salutations here because I want you to kind of stay in a place of reflection or be open to any insights that might come. And I think our minds have to be free in order for that to happen. So I don't want you to think too much about your yoga practice today. We're just going to let our minds wander. Take a couple breaths in down dog. Then look to the hands. Step the feet behind the wrists. Take a forward fold. Relaxing the shoulders down, or relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, pulling them away from the ears. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, palms touch. Just taking a few rounds of sun salutation. A, fold forward. Inhale, lift the chest, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, back to plank, drop the knees for the first one, and exhale, lower. Laying the chest flat, roll the shoulders back, find a baby cobra. Keep the elbows bent here. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes, sit up and back, downward facing. Couple breaths. Feel some length happening through the hamstrings, the calves. Look to the hands. Step the feet behind the wrists, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. We're going to do 3 more rounds. 1 breath, 1 motion. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Sit it back, downward facing. Look to the hands, step the feet up to the wrists, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, fold. Breathe in, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing. Look to the hands. Step the feet behind the wrists. Forward fold. Last round. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Up dog. Down dog, and hold right there. Notice how much easier, how much more fluid it just naturally gets as you keep moving. So even when it feels mundane, even when you're like, I could be doing something else right now, notice how much easier, how much stronger, how much less resistance there is when you just keep moving forward. Look to the hands. Step the feet behind the wrists, forward fold. Adding on just a little bit, we're going to move through Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, chair. Nobody hates chair more than I do. I think I say that in every class I teach. Nobody does. Hinge forward, fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Find your plank. Take your vinyasa. Once you get to down dog, reach the right leg up. Exhale, step it through, warrior 1. Back heel spins down, lift the chest, reach the arms up overhead. Maybe look to the hands if you can. Inhale, open up, find warrior 2. Bend the right knee deeply, reach strongly down both arms. Keep the upper ribs moving down. So it's tempting to kind of puff the chest up and almost you're moving into a back bend, but I want you to keep the core on. So ribs move down. They're stacked right over the hip bones. Inhale, reverse warrior, right side body opens. Exhale, extend, reach the left arm overhead. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, circle it around. Plank and move through your vinyasa. Downward facing and reach the left leg straight up. Exhale, step it through. Warrior one. Reach the arms up overhead. Maybe lift your eyes to see the hands. Take a couple long, slow breaths. Inhale, open up, warrior two. Reach down the arms. Remember, don't let the ribs flare up. You want to point them down so the core stays braced. The hip bones and the bottom of the ribs are stacked. Inhale, reverse left side body lengthens. And extend. Right arm reaches overhead. Spin the chest around. Inhale up, warrior two. Circle the hands around. Take your vinyasa. From down dog, look to the hands. Step the feet behind the wrists. Forward fold. We're going to do that whole thing one more time. So honestly, align the feet however you prefer for chair pose. Gently lift the chest on an inhale. Come down to the knees. Have a seat. Turn towards me. Let the eyes close. Relaxing the shoulders again. And just let your body be still, coming back to that place where we began. Feeling the rhythm of your breath. The body getting quiet. And if your mind starts wandering to that place of reflection that we started with, thinking about intentions and goals and how to move forward with that refreshed intentionality, it can get a little overwhelming at times, or it can feel discouraging because you feel like you're moving right back to square one. And number one, that's not true. And number two, we're going to approach this with the mindset that we're not starting from scratch. We are always just picking up where we left off and we move forward, one step at a time. Just as we move through our sun salutations, we see that as we continue with this gentle persistence, that we end up further along and feeling better than we did at the start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be intense. We just have to keep moving forward. So, as you move forward from here, remember that. Just one step at a time, just the next right thing, one thing at a time. On your next inhale, gently bring the hands to the heart center. Let the eyes blink open. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you want the full version, where we extend our flow a little bit more, make sure you drop down to the description below and head to studio.badyogi.com to get the full class, which lives inside Bad Yogi Studio, where all of my full life classes live. There's over like 350 something with a library that's constantly growing. So you get a free 2-week trial with the link below. I hope to see you there. But if not, I'll continue to see you around here on YouTube. So thanks again for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you right back here next time. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this class, you will love Bad Yogi Studio. Make yoga your new morning ritual. With hundreds of classes just under 30 minutes, the perfect amount of time to kickstart your day and start everything off on a high note. Welcome to class. I would love to see you inside Bad Yogi Studio with me, so tap the link below and get your free 14-day trial. I'll see you there.